Okay, this is going to be a hopefully helpful tool and video to help you better understand gearing on your bike, as this is something that kind of confuses a lot of new guys, especially those that don't come from manual cars for the first time. This is the thing that confused me the most as a new rider, and I kind of hold it dear to my heart, as the frustration slash overthinking was unbelievable looking back on it. And I wish someone had come and told me when I first started riding how simple it was. Someone really explained how simple it was. And as I'm going through this little intro and my theories on why this is so common, I'm going to be riding like I would see a beginner rider ride on these kinds of roads. Okay, so compare, as I'm going, what my gear shifting looks like now versus what it's going to look like on the way back, as I'm explaining what's going on. Now, if you're new, you've never driven anything manual before, gear selection is daunting, to say the least. And when you get on your bike for the first time, and let's say you just finished MSF, and MSF got you up to second gear at 15-20 miles per hour, and that was the extent of your shifting. Maybe third gear up to 25, right? Very low. The bike never revved high. You never got to experience the buzz of a bike. And the reason and what this causes beginners to do is that go through the formal schooling is they are terrified of their bike buzzing. They hate the feeling of it. They're scared of it because they think that's when the bike is getting rowdy and they're unable to control it. Okay? So as I'm going through this road, just really pay attention to how much I'm shifting through my gears. Now, what happens is your bike, every engine has a point within that RPM range where it is the smoothest feeling. Okay? Every single bike, every single car, there is a smoothness. There is somewhere in that RPM range that it is the smoothest. It's the quietest. It is going to be have the least vibration, and it's just going to feel the safest. And you, as a new person who is scared of your bike, are going to feel the safest on it, right? Just kind of makes sense. So what you are most likely doing as you get up on the road and are kind of navigating the world on two wheels for the first time is you are trying to stay within that comfortable little non-buzzy point. Okay, so on this bike it's around about 6-ish thousand RPM. So as I'm riding around here, and I'm not going to be looking at my tach at all because this helmet does not allow it on this bike, but I'm just going to be trying to feel for, and I'm going to slow down for turns as I would as I was new, and I'm going to try to just keep it in the buzzy point, or keep it out of the buzzy point. You're going to notice how much I'm having to shift my gears, right? It's a necessary evil if you're scared and you don't like that feeling of your bike buzzing. So I get up to here, my bike starts to buzz a little. I go through the turn, just a little baby turn. So like I go through here, right? And I start to feel, I may be going a little too fast. I'll slow down and I'll shift down. I want to stay right near that 6K RPM on my bike so everything feels the most stable. That's what my body is. That's what that was a lot of gravel. That's what I'm trying to convince myself to do. And as I come through here, right, these are just very gentle little turns, but let's say I need to slow down. I'm a little scared of what's going on, and the bike starts to feel like it bogs a little. You're going to kick down. And what happens when you're new, if you're slowing down into that turn, you're going to kick down, and you're going to start feeling like you've bogged the bike. Or you may, if we do a really poor kick down, lock our rear. I think someone came and dumped gravel out here. You may lock your rear, and locking your rear while leaned over is a very, very, very dangerous scenario. And chances are, if you do lock your rear due to a poor shift, you're not going to slide as far as you think, but the first time it happens to you, you're going to be almost convinced you pulled a full 360 on the road. It's one of those things where you'll look back on it and realize, like, oh, my rear probably moved, an inch. But at the moment, it feels like you just went for a full 360 and did a front flip around the world type of deal, right? So you never want to lock up your rear, ever, just from a fear and safety perspective. All right, so here comes a turn, so I'm gonna drop down. This one's a little sharper, and bike feels like it's bogging. Here's a ton of gravel. Come out, all right, bike's revving too much, go up the gears, sharp turn, down, down, down while I'm leaned over. Yeah, someone definitely came out here and dropped gravel. All right, now we're gonna kick up again, bang through the gears, so we don't like that noise. All right, I don't like this turn, I'm going too fast. I'm gonna shift down, come out, shift up, and shift up, right? Now, that was an unnecessary amount of shifting. This whole beginning part has been an unreasonable, was that a dog? Has been an unreasonable amount of shifting that in no world has it been necessary. And am I only making myself do more inputs, having to think harder? So right, I've been riding for a while. Shifting is not something that I have to put that mental effort into anymore, per se. But you as a new rider, shifting, and especially for, this to me was the hardest part about riding, was shifting gears. I don't know why. My body just could not quite grasp the concept, and I do think it's because I was thinking too hard about everything. And I think it's kind of one of those things where the more you think about it, the worse off you're going to be. And that's a very hard thing to explain to people. However, I do really truly wish someone had told me that when I started, because all I'm going through and ticking through these boxes and everything is, or while I'm trying to run through my little checklist every time I'm on my bike, is what am I doing? Why am I shifting gears? What's causing me to shift gears? You know, when do I shift gears? Is my bike getting too high? Am I getting too high towards the RPM? If I shift here, am I going to over rev my engine and blow it up? These are all very genuine concerns of mine that I just rode around in a almost complete frozen brain train of thought, when I should have, and what you should be doing is focusing on the road, right? So like I've mentioned back there are patches of gravel, whether this is a road that people don't quite like bikes on it. So whether, I'm not going to accuse anyone of it, but I see this on these kinds of roads where people go and they dump patches of gravel along them. And it's to discourage people from doing stupid things on motorcycles. And, you know, maybe if I lived here, I could better understand that. But at the same time, I don't think they quite understand how dangerous it is. But this is a very legitimate thing, is on the streets, on these back roads where people do not like bikes on them, they go and they dump little patches of gravel. Or like right here, right, gravel driveways, it kicks out. There's nothing they can do about that. All of that is stuff that I should be paying attention to, not my shifting. My bike, so this little bike, right, I'm in third gear. This is my 392. This is a 27 torque, 47 horsepower, 46, 40, whatever. This thing is not a speed demon by any means, and I can get up in third gear at red line, right, 63 miles per hour. All right, so we can get to 63, and in third gear, let's see how low we can go before she feels like she's bogging to me. Okay, we're still comfortable. Still comfortable. I mean, I could cruise around. So I'd call probably what, 3K is when she's gonna, yeah. So if I keep it above, we'll say 4. So let's see, what do we get to at 4K RPM? About 24 miles per hour. So I have a 40 mile per hour range within third gear. 40 mile per hour range. Tiny bike, 40 mile per hour range. Now, of course, every bike is different. This is not consistent across everything. However, this is going to be very consistent across these small bikes, is that shockingly large window across every single gear. So I have a little 40 mile per hour window, right? And between that, so if I'm riding at 40 miles per hour up these roads, and on these turns where I feel like I need to slow down, so then I come through it, I can get all the way down to 24 miles per hour, and my engine is not going to bog. There's a 0% chance risk of stalling. My engine's not going to sustain any damage from getting down to 24 miles per hour. It's going to feel, the bike's not going to be performing at its best. However, it's still very comfortable and capable down there. On the same token, we can go to the other side, right? And I can run this thing at, 8, 9, 10K RPM, no problem, okay? And as we come through this turn, we slow down, we come through, go around, and notice how much I can play with my speed, all in this 1/3 gear as I'm riding around on the street and trying to focus on staying safe. And I'm looking for the actual hazards on the road, I guess, is what I'm getting at here. So if I just kick it into third, even on my little tiny bike, that's a patch of gravel. Oh, we made it. Even on my tiny little bike, I can run it, get up to 55, no problem. She's not near red line. I mean, she's close, but she's not at red line. I can come down, right? We can slow it down, no problem. Turtle crossing, we go around, go up. I have so much flexibility with this bike in third gear. Now on your bike it might be fourth gear. If you're on a 650, it's possibly fourth gear. If you're on 700, 800, whatever you start on, the gear is going to be different. See, if we got a cap, we slow down, we don't have to shift gears. I can still just whoop, keep going. The mental energy that beginners put, new riders I should say, I don't like the word beginners and I'm sorry if I say that, but new riders should put is on actually everything in front of them. What is their bike doing? What's going on with their suspension? What's going on with their throttle hand? Where did that car come from? Can I see over this turn? What could be on the other side of this turn? On this road, where did that guy drop more gravel? All of that is so much more important than what gear I'm in and what I'm doing with my gear, okay? And with my gears. And another note on this as well is a lot of information is track adjacent. So by that I mean a guy who has a friend who rides track told him that he should be banging down gears so that his engine braking is better and he's closer to the power band as he comes out of the turn. Now his friend takes that and he tells his buddy, kick down gears when you get into the turn, and then bam, you're in the power band. And now you're the third person in line hears that and says, kick down the gears as quick as you can as you're going through the turn, and then when you're out of the turn, start ripping through the gears on the way up. And that's what gets relayed to you. A lot of that information and a lot of information on bikes is track adjacent. In that definition is the guy who runs track is 3, 4, 5, 10 people removed from the actual piece of information, and what he was explaining, what he's doing, is very different than what applies to you on the street and how you should be riding and how you are going to be safely riding on the street, especially as a beginner. Okay, so I can very comfortably just run it through, except for this stop sign right here. Can't run that one in third. Clear over there, clear over here. Right, so we get back to third and we just cruise. You are going to have so much more fun not banging through gears when you're riding on these kinds of little, pretty back roads that are somewhat, windy, and you can just focus on what's in front of you. And this is something that the cruiser guys understand better than anyone. Okay, now they kind of oversell the importance of torque to you and your riding and your bike's ability to do that. However, they understand this better than anyone. Is I can just kick it in the gear that I like. It's legitimately what most of them, not most, but a significant percentage of them do, is they kick it in a gear that they like and they just cruise. Quite literally. They're just cruising along. If they got to slow down for the deer, they slow down for the deer, and then they use some more throttle. They never shift their gears. They need to speed up to make it past, whatever. They speed up, and then they slow back down. all within the exact same gear. This applies as well to corners, right? So as you're a new rider, you're going into corners. You never want to be in too high of a gear, because if I'm down here right now, if I'm in 4th, or let's say I'm cruising around on this road in 5th, if I start to slow down, that engine's going to start bogging very, very, very quick, okay? Now this bike is not happy pulling at this RPM in 5th gear. So I'm in 6th, it's even worse, okay? So don't do this, you might blow up your bike. Not really, but it's not good for it. So let me demonstrate. So anyway, point being, this is something that I was asked, and I hope this kind of clarifies, is what do I do with my gears as I go through a turn? And don't. As you're going into the turn, make sure that you're at a gear that, in a speed that will allow you to make it through that turn, no matter how much you end up having to slow down, how much you're going to have to adjust your speed, and where you can make it out. You're new. There's no reason to be focusing on something like trying to stay in the power band. And this is where bikes like the 600s, the inline 4s, the 1000s, they don't lend themselves well to beginner riders, is because of this. Like the 600s in particular, right, is you feel like it's just gasping for air when you're at the low RPMs, and you have this kind of, you feel like you're doing something wrong. So these are the guys that are the most likely to go bang through their gears as he's coming through these turns, and it just feels like you're doing something wrong if you don't. That's where the P-twins, this little thumper, the twins, stuff like that, it does give you a lot more leeway as well with just how the bike is going to feel, not how it's actually going to ride in terms of you riding it safely. Now, to sum it all up, because I know this has been a lot of rambling, and this is probably going to be way longer than I meant for it to be, so I'm sorry. Understand each gear. Go out on a straight road and find what the range is between each gear and speed, okay? And just understand that. If you can memorize that and think of that, you're going to have a way easier time rather than trying to stay in that perfectly buzz-free zone like this one at 6,000 like this, right? Because now if I need to slow down because of this little patch of gravel, so it wasn't a patch, that was just a whatever, but let's say I need to slow down, I'm going to have to bog the engine. I don't have that same low end, right, as it slows. So I'm going to stay, Winnie Dog, I'm going to stay in 3rd. As I'm going on this road where I'm going to be ranging from probably 30 to 50 miles per hour, I'm going to stay at 3rd. So it looks like it's high on that RPM range, right? This bike is buzzy. This is a way sharper turn. I was not paying attention. It's buzzy, and that's okay. It is okay for your bike to buzz. It is okay for you to get feedback from your bike and your engine as you ride. So, yeah, in summary, don't shift through your gears that much, especially the newer you are. You're hurting yourself more than you are helping yourself on almost every occasion for just standard, safe street riding, back road riding, mountain riding to a degree, depending on how powerful your bike is. The simpler, the better. The newer you are, the simpler, the better. I hope this helps explain some things, and I hope this will help you with your riding. And I'm sorry again for how long this one may be. Thank you.